Remember how you used to print our photographs? Throughout its history, photography existed primarily in the material world. In the 19th century, photographers were just mad scientists trying to capture light on a photosensitive surface. Early daguerreotypes captured images on silver plates. In 1888, the first commercial camera exposed images on paper negatives that had to be sent back to the manufacturer for development. If this business model sounds familiar, the name of the manufacturer was Kodak. From there, we went on to photographic film made of plastic, first in black and white, and then in color. After World War II, everybody had a point-and-shoot camera. Photography was physical. In the end, you'd have a roll of developed film that you'd either cut into slides or print every photo from it on paper to view it properly. But then, something changed. Photography became digital. Welcome to the future. Literally, it's 2 months after I made the part you just saw and filmed the part you will see. I'm editing the video currently, and I figured that I need to reshoot this, so I don't care enough, it's the lockdown. But anyway, I'm here to tell you that in the future, we have way more than only 36 shots for our entire vacation. Like, as a matter of fact, I can take 36 selfies right this moment and then delete all of them, because come on, I'm not even wearing clothes. But does that mean that we shouldn't print our photos at all? Well, no. Yes, digital files don't take up too much space, and as a matter of fact, you don't even have to physically store them in your house. But if I had $1 every time a friend of mine complained how they've lost all their photos from the past 10 years because a hard drive crashed, or they didn't have a backup plan, or whatever, I would be, well, let's say I wouldn't be filming this in my living room. If your backups are set up properly, here's another question. Do you really think that your grandchildren will be willing to sift through millions upon millions of photos in your iCloud that you've accumulated during your life? So yeah, today you don't have to print every photo you take. You can choose your best photographs, or the ones that have the greatest emotional value, and put them in a photo book or on your wall. You will experience them way differently. And if you're a photographer yourself, printing a photo will help you assess your work and your editing. And maybe, just maybe, you'll realize that pixel peeping is not really that important. So yeah, print your photos, people. And if you need tips, well, here they are. Make sure your photos are the largest they can be. Online, you can get away with much smaller files. It's actually preferred, but size really does matter in print. Brighten up your photo slightly, but only slightly. A photo will always appear slightly darker when it's printed because, unlike computer screens, paper doesn't glow. Also, the way the colors mix is different. The more saturated a color is, there's going to be physically more ink applied to the paper, and that'll make that color appear darker as well. The way your photos look will also be dependent on the paper you're printing on. In most consumer-facing photo labs, you can choose between matte and glossy. Glossy will make your photo appear more contrasty, and matte will make it less contrasty but somehow more spacious. When glossy paper first appeared, that was the fancier, more expensive option, but today they cost the same, and it's basically about your personal preference. I do not like it because it's prone to finger smudges, and if I'm printing a photo to hang it around the house, I want to make it less reflective, not more. Many people choose glossy today because it resembles a computer screen, and that's how we're used to consuming our imagery. These are not the only options. A couple years ago, for example, uncoated paper was all the rage, and uncoated paper absorbs ink like crazy. See how dark and saturated these are? There's also aluminum dye bond, there's canvas, there's structured paper, there's pearl paper, there's many different materials you can print on. As you're preparing your photos for print, make sure the screen you're editing on shows you colors relatively well. If you work on Apple devices, in my experience, they will give you pretty accurate colors right out of the box. If you're working on an uncalibrated Windows laptop where the colors look like this, then do something about it. If you're working on a Samsung phone, good luck. If I'm editing a photo, I'll usually look at it on several different devices before calling it done, and if it looks similar on all of them, my job's done. Also, with some photo labs, you have to explicitly tell them not to apply any automatic adjustments to your photos because they're usually used to working with really crappy files that people bring in, so they just auto-adjust everything by default to make them at all printable. And if you've spent time working on a photo, you want it to look how you wanted it to look. To recap, make sure your photos are large. You don't want to spend money on something that turns out pixelated. Brighten up your photos a bit. Choose a paper or medium that works for how you want to display or keep your photos, and bear in mind that different kinds of paper absorb ink differently. Make sure your editing screen looks relatively accurate. You don't have to aim for 100% accuracy, but if the screen is too cold or too warm, that can definitely influence your edit. Tell the photo lab not to apply any automatic adjustments to your photos so they're true to how you edited them. That's it for this video. Finally, another photography-related video on this channel. I'll keep them coming. I hope the tips were helpful. If you have anything to add or if you have a question, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, it really helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.